I stopped explaining myself. There's a kind of silence that comes after years of noise. Not the silence of an empty room, but the silence of a phone you stop checking. The quiet that follows unread messages. Group chats left behind. And birthdays that pass without a single text. It's the silence that arrives when you realize you don't miss hearing from anyone at all. This silence is not planned. No one wakes up one day and decides to cut everyone off. It happens slowly, one unanswered message at a time, one declined invitation after another, until one day you stop pretending. You stop explaining. You stop showing up for people who never truly showed up for you. People notice the change. They say you became distant, cold, different. They whisper your name in rooms you're no longer invited to. But what they don't see is that you were already alone long before you left. You were alone in conversations where no one listened. Alone in relationships where you carried everything. This is not bitterness. It's clarity. It's the moment when relief replaces guilt. When "I'm busy" stops being an excuse and becomes a boundary. When you stop apologizing for protecting yourself. This is the psychology of people who cut everyone off. Not because they hate people, but because they finally chose themselves. At first, the quiet feels strange. No plans, no check-ins, just your routine and a sense of peace you didn't expect. You look at your phone and realize months have passed without reaching out to anyone. And instead of panic, you feel calm. This didn't come from nowhere. It came after years of being the reliable one, the person who always showed up, the one who remembered birthdays, listened closely, and made time no matter how tired they were. You were always there for other people's emergencies. Then one day, you needed help. You reached out during your own breaking point, and what came back was silence. Maybe a short text, maybe a promise to call that never happened. In that moment, you saw the truth clearly. You were giving far more than you were receiving. After that, every interaction started to feel heavy. You began doing mental math you never wanted to do. How much energy does this take? What am I getting back? The numbers never added up. You were pouring from an empty cup into cups that were already full. When you stopped pouring, people noticed. They called it change. They called it coldness. They asked what happened to you. What they really meant was, They wanted the old version of you back, the one who gave without limits, even when it hurt. But your nervous system had learned something before your mind caught up. Every time you trusted, every time you opened your heart, you ended up alone. So you started controlling the only thing you could, the exit. Leaving first hurt less than being left again. This isn't dramatic. There's no big confrontation. It's a slow fade. Text unanswered. Invitations declined. Social media deleted without explanation. Sometimes it's a clean break. Other times, you just quietly disappear. When you run into people from your past, the conversations are shallow. You realize you were never really truly seen. You were performing a version of yourself that kept the connection alive. When that performance stopped, the relationship did too. Indifference replaces anger. You don't hate anyone. Hate takes energy. You're past that. You simply don't care anymore. People want closure, but closure would require explaining yourself to people who never listened in the first place. The surprising part is that the loneliness doesn't hurt like you expected. The solo holidays, the quiet birthdays, the emergencies you handled alone. Instead of devastation, there is peace. Quiet becomes your favorite sound. This pattern didn't start in adulthood. It actually began in childhood. Maybe you grew up with emotional distance. Maybe love came with conditions. Maybe asking for help meant being ignored. You learned early that needing people was quite dangerous. Those early lessons shaped everything. You became independent out of survival, not choice. You learned to expect nothing so you wouldn't be disappointed. You learned to read rooms, manage emotions, and disappear when needed. Every adult relationship followed the same script. You gave, they took. When you needed support, they disappeared. Over time, your brain learned that connection came with a cost you could no longer afford. So you stopped trying, not because you were broken, but because you finally listened to what your body had been telling you all along. This costs too much. Isolation became safer than rejection, not because you hate people, but because you are protecting the part of yourself that still knows how to care. You see patterns now. You stop one-sided relationships early. You notice who only shows up when it's easy. You pull back quietly and watch. Most don't notice, and that tells you everything. Cutting people off isn't giving up connection. It's refusing to accept a hollow version of it. It's choosing peace over constant disappointment. People say you built walls. What you built are boundaries. Walls keep everyone out. Boundaries keep the wrong people out and leave space for the right ones, if they ever show up. The loneliest you ever felt wasn't in isolation. It was surrounded by people who didn't see you. Being alone just made the truth visible. You don't miss those people. You miss the version of yourself who believed trying harder would make them stay. That version almost didn't survive. Leaving wasn't running away. It was running toward peace, toward mornings without anxiety, toward a life where your worth isn't measured by who stays. Cutting everyone off isn't the absence of love. It's the presence of self-preservation. You're not cold, you're clear. You're not broken, you're finally free. Let me know what you think. This realization came after many years of seeing patterns. And I reserve my best part, my best self, for those who see me, for those who feel me, for those who have a mutual respect and admiration. And the energy levels that I have now are boundless. You don't have to accept these superficial, paper-thin relationships with status-hungry people who want an audience just to hear them talk. It's draining. That game is a tired game. I've seen it all my life. I've pulled back from participating in it for a very long time. Now, I don't want anybody around me who is so shallow. Give me the real. Give me the full thing. You know why? Because I know I've always given. And if this resonates with you, then you know you've always given. And if you're kind of pissed off at words like this, that means you don't need to be around the real people anyway. You are the flotsam and jetsam. You are the insignificant, paper-thin wearers of masks. And we need to cut those down like we need to cut down the weeds that blur the vision and view of a beautiful garden. If in any way you feel drained, if in any way you wonder why you always seem to get the short end of the stick, that's your call to pull back. Grab that emotional and spiritual machete and start cutting down the weeds in the beautiful yard that is your life. Thank you for listening. I'm glad that you spent the time here with me, and I'm enjoying your comments. I like speaking about human nature in a preventative way. I'm a happy person, a joyous person, but I'm that way because I know how to protect that side of myself. Because these days there's lots of joy in my heart, and it always has been. It's just that when you give so much of yourself, it's kind of hard to preserve it. But now there's so many layers of protection around me, and I choose now who gets around my energy. So this is why I'm going deeper and deeper into human nature. And let's talk about the things that last. Let's talk about the things that teach just as much as people that are precious in my life teach me. And that's what it's all about, to be a better version every single day that passes than you were the day before. And it may not always be in the same category, and it may not even move at the same speed. But as long as you are symbolically taking one step at a time and putting one foot in front of the other in the different categories of your life and getting better, then you're making the improvement that you need. Because day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, and decade after decade, after a time, you'll see it. It's like climbing a mountain. You're climbing that mountain and you don't look back. You're just climbing and you're climbing. And once you get to a cliff where you can take a break halfway and turn around to see how far you've come, you'll be quite shocked. So learn yourself, study yourself, spend time to yourself, meditate to yourself, and always do what's good for you. If there's anybody in your life that disagrees with you putting yourself first, then they need to be the first person cut down by that emotional machete that's clearing out the useless energies in your life. I love you all. Thank you so much. Leave your comments. I'm on to the next one. Peace.